Then Deputy Minister Tau is gonna leave the meeting early due to an early engagement is here. We welcome you, Deputy Minister. And then also the DG of DCOC is sending an apology. These are the apologies that I'm having. Our agenda looks as follows. We are going to welcome you. Then Northwest and JB Max will be the first one to start the presentation. Then it will be followed by Gauteng and the Rand West local municipality. Then we'll have the discussions. If we are disciplined, we might leave this meeting after discussions and the way forward and closure by 10 o'clock. I'm at your hands and mercy, colleagues. If you have the energy, it's okay. We can even go at 2, it's okay. So let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you who are present. I had seen the DM, I've acknowledged him, the MEC from Northwest, I've acknowledged him. Tafita Mukwena, I don't have any apologies from Gauteng, but I see you are here. Maybe when the time arrives. Who's the leader of the delegation, Tafita?
Good evening, Chair. I think from our side, the HOD is on leave, and the MEC apparently is trying to join. I think there are a few colleagues who are struggling to join them to the challenge with Zoom. Yeah, but for now, from our side, the team is here, Chair, to lead. The MM is here from the municipality, and then the team from the department is also here.
From the municipality, ne?
Yes.
Okay. I whenever I see you, I know you might be the leader of the delegation. Then, in the absence of the HOD, welcome HOD Northwest Copter as well. I see you've just joined. You're welcome. Then I think let's start with the meeting. Those who will be able to, and I've acknowledged Salga Copter, done that as well. Then I think the others, as and when they join, they will be able to welcome them and acknowledge them. The members that have not yet joined, like Honorable Direko, she's struggling to connect. I had similar issues last night. I hope she's going to join. Then let's then proceed before this network messes us up. You will recall in the course of our numerous interactions with various municipalities, this committee has observed instances of poor support Deputy Minister Tau to amalgamated municipality, which also then contributed significantly to financial service delivery and governance challenges encountered by those municipalities. Then as a committee, we have therefore deemed it necessary to have a more systematic discussion on this matter with all affected stakeholders, with a view to drawing lessons on best practices, as well as minimizing the common amalgamation pitfalls. We started this process with the meeting of the 13th of November, if you recall, colleagues, and we have called everybody thinking that we were going to make inroads the whole day, but given the plethora of the issues that were there, couldn't even do justice. So then in the course of our work as a committee, we have encountered many amalgamation challenges. As we had those who have come before us, There are challenges relating to the post-amalgamation processes, including deficiencies in the support provided to the merged institution. The allocated budget is often not responsive to the demands of the amalgamation. There are also sensitive labor matters involved, which are not always possible to resolve without a full buy-in from the unions. We have browsed the presentation from West Rand, from the Rand West City, which also then illustrate these dynamics very clearly. In addition to the Division of Revenue Act allocation, normally it does not sufficiently consider the service delivery of the amalgamation. And then in the case of the classical case of Rand West City, the municipality also had to contend with disruptive labor unrest and compromise to the demands of the labor union on migration and placement of staff. The other issue that we have observed through our reading of your documents, you check the colleagues from Northwest, you will see the issue of unauthorized, regular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure incurred while the merged entities will still separate. It's another serious challenge. The disestablishment of the responsible entity before resolution of the unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure matters, they present special difficulties for the committee in terms of extracting accountability and consequence management, as there is no one to be held responsible for that. This also presents a problem for the new amalgamated entity, as it inherits the unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditures and becomes vulnerable to poor audit outcomes. It also becomes very vulnerable because a merger with a financially irresponsible municipality will tend to regress rather than improve the audit outcomes of the newly formed entity. You look at the Northwest presentation on the merger between Ventersdorp and Tlokwe. This is the classical example of what I've just said. Tlokwe's audit outcome regressed from an unqualified audit opinion in 2014-15 to a disclaimer in 2016-2017 following the merger with Ventersdorp to form JB Max. So these are some of the issues that we have encountered. I wonder if Deputy Minister, you have something to say holistically now that you are here, before I allow the MEC Kwaile from Northwest to lead the Northwest presentation, and then the team of from Gauteng to do same. Do you want to say something, Deputy Minister Down?
Sorry, Chair, thank you very much. And good evening. Firstly, I think it's important to acknowledge the initiative to engage with the municipalities that have amalgamated. As a department, we've identified this as a critical challenge to the extent that we have observed a number of issues. The first is the adequacy of the transition fund and the limitations thereof whenever municipalities are amalgamated, particularly because it does not change the rate base and therefore the responsibility on the municipality to provide services. The second relates to the amalgamation of generally two municipalities in distress, and the resultant effect is that, in fact, we plunge those into deeper distress. And the third area, which I think you have identified, Chair, that present a challenge is the post-amalgamation processes, in particular related to resolving the labor-related matters of parity and the pressure that is there on local labor forums to resolve matters of parity, particularly because those don't always fall under the auspices of the Central Bargaining Council and are left to local labor forums. And the decisions of these local labor forums have had an impact on the viability of municipalities. So the support being provided to local labor forums, and in this regard, I'm talking both labor and employer representatives to ensure sustainability of the institution going forward, is equally an important part of the work. But I think from the presentations we'll receive from the provinces and the municipalities, these matters would be elucidated. Thank you very much.
Are you done?
Yes, thank you very much.
DM?
I'm done. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Then I will allow MEC Twaile to lead the presentation from Northwest, and then you'll decide whom do you want to dedicate to do the whole presentation, or you're going to do it yourself. It's up to you. MEC Twaile.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. We are having the funeral arrangements being made for the Queen Mother of the Bafokeng. May her soul rest in peace. I'm just out of the tribal palace en route to Mafikeng. And really we appreciate this opportunity. I can quickly just make a reflection because we have connected together with the HOD and the team of the department, and I would request that the HOD made a presentation, but just because of the need to reflect on the background. During 2013, the Municipal Demarcation Board finalized the process of confirming the outer boundaries on the municipalities in preparation for the 2016 local government elections. On the 8th of August 2013, the Municipal Demarcation Board published 157 cases of voting districts in terms of Section 21, subsection 3 of the Local Government Municipal Demarcation Act number 27 of 1998, and it had subsequently realigned the voting districts and with communities and traditional authorities areas that were split, confirmed 147 voting district cases, varied 5 voting district cases, and withdrew 5 voting district cases. Between February and April 2015, the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs requested the Municipal Demarcation Board in terms of Section 22, subsection B of the Municipal Demarcation Act to determine or redetermine the boundaries of various municipalities. Maybe we will reflect that at our approach was that we will amalgamate strong municipality with the weak municipality, and in our case, we had Ventersdorp with only 5 branches, serious UIFW, less capacities, and Gauteng, it was called the Potchefstroom municipality at the time, then was little bit upper leverage, able to generate revenue. Where the Ventersdorp was located, it was more of a farm agricultural area with the farming predominantly characterizing the area. Now the weaknesses in internal control measures and financial management systems together with there were serious challenges on and around the Ventersdorp, and there was a need to improve the internal control measures and financial systems, and for that reason we deemed it necessary to have that municipality as weak amalgamated with the stronger one that has a strong revenue base. Honorable Chair, may I request Ntate Motoko to make the presentation, and we will be with him all the way. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Ntate Motoko, you may make the presentation.
Thank you, MEC. HOD.
Whilst the HOD is finding it difficult to connect, may I reflect that our presentation is having 7 items: the background, terms of reference, political and technical status, pram amalgamation, financial performance pre and post amalgamation, financial viability pre and post amalgamation, and the status of the JB Max local municipality after amalgamation, and the recommendation. Now, I've reflected on the background. We can move to slide number 4.
So
we can move to slide number 4.
Chair, I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, please, HOD, can you make the presentation?
Yes, I'm Chairperson. Good morning to you. Good morning to the MEC.
The
Good morning to
presentation is on the screen.
good morning to
Not good morning. It's not good morning.
It's because I'm frustrated here. I don't know what I have done. Good evening, Chairperson. Good evening, Chairperson. Good evening, Deputy Minister, members, colleagues. I am trying to get to grips with the Zoom. I'm not very used to Zoom. I'm used to the other one, but I'm just trying to get a full screen here.
HOD.
Yes, ma'am.
I ask you to do a full slideshow because you are live on television.
Yes, I'm trying to just get the full screen on my own laptop here.
Yes, that will be very key.
Yes, if you can just give me a few seconds. Yeah.
But I think you should be proceeding. Are you alone?
Yes, I'm alone. I just got out of the office because normally at the office there's no, but here. I don't know now what to do now.
Chairperson.
No, proceed then. Can proceed.
Can somebody who can advise me, tell me what to do? All right, Chair. I think if the presentation is on the screen, Good morning to you once more, and good morning to the members. Good morning to the Deputy Minister.
Andile, you know how to advise the HOD?
Yes, Chair, if he could go.
Andile?
Yes, Chairperson. If the HOD could look at the bottom right hand side of the screen, right at the bottom, there's a 100%, just next to that 100%, there's an icon that looks like a glass. And if he can press on that icon like a glass there, next to 100%. Can you see it, HOD?
I think I've pressed on it, but it's just dark on my side.
HOD, can you see?
It looks like it looks like I have
next to 100% on your right there.
Yes, yes, I am.
No, you're pressing the wrong button, HOD. It's that one that looks like a glass next to 100%.
Next to 100%.
That's
the one
second.
on the left of 100% HOD.
Okay, let's see.
At the bottom there.
Yes,
something like a glass.
I have pressed that.
The one immediately before.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Yes. Okay, is this the one?
There you go. Yeah.
The problem
we can
with
see it, all of us here.
Okay, the problem on my part is like I have. Okay. No,
thank you. Now, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to go into the background. I think the MEC has already gone into it. Yes. I would wish to just inform the committee that the Northwest Province at the time also received the guidelines from a national COCTA in terms of, and from the MDB in terms of how to go about the amalgamation, and the guidelines were followed to the latter in terms of implementing this amalgamation, and the committees were set up. The political committee, which was called Municipal Political Change Management Committee, that was chaired by the district chairperson, and the deputy of the district chairperson was the local mayor of Tlokwe at the time, and also members included, also members from what we called Defenders of at the time. And there was also a technical committee that also was formed to support the political committee. I will not go through their terms of reference, as I think MDB and COCTA had already taken the members through them. But in case of our province, we followed this to the letter. And then these are just some of the legislative imperatives that were applicable at the time, that were also followed to the latter by the province, and a plan was put in place that would ultimately give us what we now call the remarks, and I'm also going to not go through it, as all these processes had been done and had been completed. I think what should also be noted at this point was that the province at the time was amalgamating the two municipalities. Actually, it was an amalgamation of the two municipalities, but we were amalgamating the erstwhile Ventersdorp into what was then called Tlokwe. The reasons being that at the time, Tlokwe was a small municipality. It had only 6 wards, if my recollection is correct. And I think the total number of councillors from both PR and ward councillors were about 10. And there were also some of the demographic information, which was not very good in terms of the high number of people who were unemployed in the area and the number of households that were actually living below poverty lines and so on. And that situation was not even comparable when we came to Tlokwe. When we look at the slides, we'll see in terms of the provision of services at the time, the municipality was struggling to provide those services such as water, such as sanitation, such as refuse removal, and generally the level of unemployment was also very, very high in the erstwhile Ventersdorp. And when we look at the financial matters of both the municipalities, we would realize that because Ventersdorp was a municipality that was actually just a municipality made out of farming areas and few villages that were actually not even villages at the time. They were, the people around the areas of Tlokwe were forcefully removed during apartheid and brought to areas like Mafikeng, like Lichtenberg. And now they were just going back to those farms that had been, restituted back to them. So the situation was not, the municipality just based on those demographic situation was not really, really viable. Whereas at the same time, we had Tlokwe, which was well established. It was an academic town that was meant to provide, basically it was a university town that was built up in such a way that it was to provide basic but high-level kind of services to mostly the minority that was living in that particular time. So when we look at these slides that are going to follow, we will realize that Tlokwe and Ventersdorp were not at the same level when we were amalgamating them. So when we look at what used to be the race MPRA implementation during that time, that is municipal rates, we will realize that we are just trying to give information here that shows that how prepared was the two municipalities to implement the municipal property rates at the time. So when we were beginning to merge them, Tlokwe's municipal valuation roll was valid until 2018, whereas that of Tlokwe was valid until June 2017. So we started, the two municipalities, when they started after merging, they were operating on two separate valuation rolls. And then the financial viability before the merger, I think I have already indicated that Ventersdorp was a poorer municipality, rural municipality. So it has been receiving disclaimer audit opinions since 2012. And they merged in 2015. And even then, when they were to merge, the municipality was still receiving the disclaimer. Whereas there was, in Tlokwe, it was opposite to what this municipality was receiving. And then the consumer debt, the municipality was unable to deal with the consumer debt because of its state, as I've indicated, that it was a very poor municipality. Whereas the other municipality, it is a university town. Most of the people were employed and they were able to pay their debts. but also at the same time, Tlokwe municipality had very good policies in place that made sure that they control the debt. You know, the debt control policy was well practiced, was well put in place. It has been institutionalized, so everybody around Tlokwe would not owe municipality more than 5%, if I have to put it that way. But there was just a strong management around the issues of debt and the issues of finances. And similarly, the same went for the creditors. When we get to the creditors, we'll find that these were poorly managed in Ventersdorp, but they were properly managed in Tlokwe. And Tlokwe was able to manage and service the ESCOM debt, whereas that was not the case with Ventersdorp. And Ventersdorp, at the time of amalgamation, they were owing 121 million to ESCOM, whereas Tlokwe was owing nothing because of their management practices and so forth. And the ratio, the current ratio which measures whether the community will be able to cover its liabilities within at least a period of 1 year. In Ventersdorp, the current ratio was below the norm, which is 1.5 to 2.1, whereas in Tlokwe it was 4.5. So they could cover their current debts. Tlokwe could cover their current debts and still remain with something to continue with their operations after that. And I've talked about the disclaimer, the audit opinion that the two municipalities were dealing with. I must, however, indicate that what the chairperson has also indicated was that for some strange reasons, both municipalities had one thing in common, which was failure to deal with UIF and W in both municipalities. And if we are to look at UIF and W, we'll realize that the UIF and W in Tlokwe was very high, despite their capacity, because both administratively and politically, but they were unable to deal with this UIFW at the time. And I will also indicate when we go down that it is still the case even now. At the time in Ventersdorp, MPEC was not functional, though it was functional in Tlokwe, even though they could not really achieve what they were supposed to achieve. And I don't know if I've moved too fast because I see the slides that I don't want to see. Yeah. I'm not sure what's happening here now. Chairperson?
Colleagues,
Chairperson?
It looks like we've lost the chairperson. HOD?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
you can wrong HOD.
Presenting.
I also seem to be a little lost. I don't know what happened to my presentation now. Yes, ma'am.
HOD.
Yes, Chairperson. I don't know if I'm still with you. Hello?
Hey, HOD, we can hear you. Just continue to present.
But on what slide am I? Because I don't seem to have
You just follow your own
You are
slide.
on slide number
On the
7.
people who, yes.
Yeah. I seem to have done something that I shouldn't have done. Okay. Okay, thank you. So that's the situation in terms of financial performance of the two municipalities before the amalgamation. When we look at the slide here, we are talking to the issues financial post-amalgamation, that after the amalgamation, we have had two, the result was that Tlokwe municipality then had to take over the debts of the post. There was now a new entity. It was no longer Tlokwe. It had to take over the debts of the old offenders of municipality, and it had to use its reserves to pay off the debts, including the ESCOM debt. And maybe just to mention it now that JB Max, as a new entity formed out of this, is the only municipality in the province that does not owe ESCOM. They took over the debt, they paid it off, and the municipality is still able to maintain that debt. And as at September, the outstanding debtors at now the new JB Max stand at 70.6% for more than 90 days. And we are concerned about the collection of some of these debts, because these are old debts and they come from the old offenders' job. And households constitute most of the outstanding debts at 228 million, whereas the creditors, they are amounting to 19 million, of which 33% is owed to these creditors for more than 90 days. And we are indicating that the municipality is able to service their debts. And the average collection for JB Max is at 86%. However, it has dropped to 74%. And JB Max is also projected to close with a positive cash flow balance of 183 at the end of the financial year, which was the previous financial year that ended in June. And here we are indicating we are still on financial viability of the amalgamated municipality of JB Max, and we are on debtors age analysis. We realize that the municipality's total debt is at, it is owed by consumers 592 million, which 418 of it is over 90 days. And this amount is owed mostly by the residents of the former offenders' job. The reason being that, as I've indicated when we at the opening slides, that they are the most impoverished of the two areas. So this is mainly the amount that is coming from there. And then when we continue with the financial viability of Tlokwe, we also, this is a slide that is talking to what I have already indicated. But as we can see, most of the debt come from households. And it's unfortunate that we are unable to speak about the household debts. We normally only talk of the debts from the state and the debt from the commercial practices. We never really talk about the household, but we can see from the slide that even if all the departments, government departments, all the businesses can pay the debts that is being owed to municipalities, we will still not have viable municipalities if we don't address the household debts. And unfortunately, these household debts come from what we historically refer to as black townships or African townships. When we look at this, is still a slide on municipal viability, and it is just showing you the creditors. And I think it is important to look at the slide. When you look at the slide, is that the creditors are those people who are owing the municipality. So we realize that the municipality is not owing electricity, meaning that they have paid their dues to ESCOM, they have paid their dues for bulk services in terms of water, bulk water, and in terms of the employees, unlike other municipalities that we have in the province, they are paying what is due in terms of the employees, the third parties. So when it comes to issues of financial viability, we don't have problems in terms of the new amalgamated municipality of Ventersdorp and Tlokwa, which is now JB Max. The chairperson has indicated that there was deterioration in terms of audit outcomes when the municipality was amalgamated. Yes, we realized that in 2016-17, which was the year of amalgamation, there was a disclaimer opinion, mainly because at some point during the riots in the former Ventersdorp, the municipal buildings were burned down, and one of the buildings that was burned to its ashes was where the records were kept. And therefore, during that year, we could not, or the municipality could not be able to provide municipalities with all the documentation that they would have required. And that has led to this disclaimer. However, municipality worked hard to recreate some of the records, and it has then now moved to qualification for the past 2 years. But what we can see that all along, Ventersdorp had been receiving disclaimers, whereas the audit outcomes for Ventersdorp had been unqualified and was only once qualified. Now the new entity has received a disclaimer and 2 qualified, and it is working quite hard with the support of both the provincial department and provincial treasury to ensure that it improves its audit outcomes. This is the gray area in terms of the municipality. The JB Max, due to the fact that both JB Max and Ventersdorp had been unable to deal with the unauthorized, the UIFNW. These amounts have been ballooning over the years, and as at the end of 2018-19, it stood at 3 billion. So this is really a gray area and a cause of concern, and we should be able, as a province, to assist the municipality to make sure that they deal with these historical issues of UIFNW in that municipality, to make sure that it is cleared. So this is really one of the major issues. I think my previous slides have only been talking about good things about the merger, but this is one of the serious threat to the merger, that is denting what we might have achieved through the measure by making sure that the people of Ventersdorp are benefiting from the good practices that had been established in the erstwhile Tlokwe. This is what that slide is talking about, that during the first year of the measure, the municipality received a disclaimer audit opinion. Further proving that FSO inaccurate expenditure was not disclosed correctly in the books of JB Max municipality itself. The consolidated AFS for 2016 and 17 recorded the total amount of 759 million. Yet both Ventersdorp and Tlokwe municipality accounted for 429 and 854 million respectively in 2015 and 16 financial year, which amounted to a total of 1.2 billion. So the municipality is not complying with Section 32 process in addressing FNW. And this is where our support comes in as a provincial department, in that we assist the municipality to make sure that they follow the processes in terms of addressing this. They have been trained. They've been given a toolkit that has been developed by national and rolled out throughout the province to make sure that they use that tool to deal with the UFNW through this section, Section 32. So I have indicated that the other problem was that the Ventersdorp municipality at the time had experienced loss of records due to arson, and these are some of the issues that are also hampering this 32 process that we are talking about. At the moment, we are also experiencing a dysfunctionality of MPEC, in that there is instability within the committee. The committee tries to meet but does not form a quorum, and but we are still stating that despite all these challenges, the new entity, which is JB Max, is still able to meet its financial obligations. The challenges that had been experienced is that there was an opposition to the measure by the community, and there are still some pockets that are still opposing the measure, although they are not very vocal. It would have seemed, because they were very pronounced about 2017-18, where the roads were blocked and so forth, but through the support of the province, the municipality was able to deal with those issues. The main issue was about the delay in terms of the mega projects that could have employed more people in those areas. So that has been dealt with. And the other problem is that I've indicated that Tlokwe, the erstwhile Tlokwe, had reserves. So those reserves have been depleted because they were used to address basically mostly the debts that had been incurred by the formerly fiscally irresponsible Ventersdorp municipality. And obviously they led to some issues relating to maintenance of infrastructure and all of that. And but that was basically one of the things that the measure had to try and address. We also had issues of change management, which were not adequately handled. Tlokwe has had very strict policies in terms of your debt management. So you would not buy electricity when you are owing other services, they would then use the electricity as a debt management tool, which was not the case in Ventersdorp. And when the two municipalities merged, the SWAL wanted to use the same policy in Ventersdorp, and that led to community riots because Ventersdorp was not, change management issues. They claimed that they had not been workshopped, they have not been informed, and so on. So they wanted the status quo of Ventersdorp to remain, whereas they were in Tlokwe, and those policies had been adopted by the new JB Max municipality. But the municipality is dealing with that. And in conclusion, we are saying that Tlokwe, JB Max local municipality is viable and is able to execute its mandate. It's got challenges that we are addressing now. I expect members to be knowing that it is currently under Section 139 to address some of those challenges. But those challenges are not necessarily arising out of the measure. They are coming out of the political management of Tlokwe and the administrative management of Tlokwe, not necessarily, not Tlokwe, my apologies, of JB Max. They are coming from those administrative political issues, not necessarily from the measure, and then they are being addressed. And we are also saying that based on the ratio, the tests that have been done in terms of the collection rates and the liabilities and so forth, Tlokwe is financially viable and is able to provide crucial services to the community. And that Tlokwe at the moment, it needs increased support from the province so that they are able to deal with UFNW, which is a historical matter between the SWAL, Tlokwe, and Ventersdorp municipalities. So, in conclusion, we could say that we're talking here about two different towns. I think if you look at my presentation, I did not present those slides, but you'll realize that we also wanted to merge other towns, but the situation could not have been the same, because if you merge towns that have got similar weaknesses, you will, the end result will just be a bigger problem, because the weakness will just expand. But here we merged Tlokwe, which was very good, which I must indicate, I don't know what happened to the slides that were showing that it used to receive Blue Dot in terms of service delivery. It used to receive other awards, Vuna awards, and other awards in terms of the cleanliness and so on. So we were making a very strong municipality with a weaker one. And that is why we are talking mostly the positives in terms of this measure. And we are hopeful that the people of the SWAL Ventersdorp are enjoying the benefit of having been merged with that municipality. But besides that, they are just one community. They are 52 kilometers apart from one another. So we believe that the measure is correct, and we also see that it has also yielded better results in that they are all benefiting from the measure. MEC, I will pause here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, HOD. The chairperson has a network problem, so time and time again, she's just get kicked out. So now I'm going to allow JB Max to present.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Deputy Minister Parkstown, all. What is happening? Chair, can I continue? Chair, can I continue?
Yes, please continue.
All right, all portfolio members and all protocols observed. The comprehensive presentation by Mr. Motoko and the MEC was quite comprehensive, and we are very much appreciative of the support that we are receiving from the department. I just want to quickly highlight that it's not only the Department of COCTA and the Department of Finance that's supporting us, but we also have a very good working relationship with SALGA, Northwest Province, and the support received from SALGA is highly supportive and appreciated. Chairperson, I'm not going to be long. I just wanted to, in addition to the comprehensive report, a few more information with regard to our situation for the committee to be taking note of this situation. Number one is that the amalgamation grant of 17 million was definitely not enough. You have heard huge amounts of millions and millions that we have already settled. But in addition to that ESCOM debt, we have also settled an Inca loan of 20 million from the Ventersdorp municipality. We have also settled litigations related projects of ±5 million. And then we also had a debt from the Department of Water and Sanitation for 10 million from the Ventersdorp region. We have disputed that figure, and since that amount has gone up to 13 million, and I'm happy to report that we have since agreed with the Department of Water and Sanitation on the 30 million, and that will be settled very soon. Chairperson, I'm also happy to confirm that we absolutely honor our third-party agreements. Very strict on that. We pay them every single month, and we don't owe ESCOM a single cent. In addition to that, the placement processes has been completed. Right, let me go with regard to service delivery. We are maintaining that that debt from the Ventersdorp municipality could have been channeled to address other service delivery needs, and it has definitely impacted negatively on how priorities were set. Mr. Motoko already indicated the distance between the two merged municipalities, and that results in a lot of traveling between the two regions. Chairperson, I'm also confirming what Mr. Motoko has presented, that indeed we had a very effective 95/5 policy working in the Clockway region, and in the Ventersdorp region it was extremely difficult to implement that, and we have since settled for 60/40 in the Ventersdorp region, and we are busy addressing that specific matter. Another challenge, Chairperson, is that the Ventersdorp region in some areas is being supplied directly from ESCOM, and that is taking away much needed revenue from our municipality. I can also confirm that indeed we are addressing the challenges as presented by Mr. Motoko with regard to our MPEC committees, and also particularly with the portfolio committees that's partly not functional. Chairperson, that is in brief my presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Much appreciated. Chairperson.
Honorable Chair, it seems as if today we are losing a chairperson. Even the acting chair has also disappeared. Chairperson. Andile.
My apologies, colleagues. I'm also having a network challenges on my side. The next presentation will come from Gauteng.
You must just come back to
Cape Town. The next presentation will come from Gauteng Provincial Cooperative.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks very much, Honorable Chair. From our side, Chair, we've got one consolidated presentation. The municipality will go first, and then the province will do the second part. So the COO from the municipality will present, and then Ms. Opando will follow, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Chairperson. Chairperson.
Proceed. It looks like we have network glitches today. Proceed.
Are you supposed to flight your presentation?
Someone can just flight the presentation so that we can proceed.
Mr. Stein, are you not having an option to share the presentation? I think our admin has indicated that he has given a permission for all those that are going to present an option to share. Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. My name is Larry Stein. I'm Chief Operating Officer at Railway City Local Municipality.
We have a problem with
we can't hear you.
The loudness, the background there.
Yes, there's very disturbing noise from your background.
Let me just check here, Chairperson.
It's like you're driving a bus or something. There's a very terrible noise.
Sorry, is the noise still there?
Yes, it's still there and it's getting worse.
I think, I wonder, shouldn't I quickly move my location? Let me quickly move my location.
It seems as if there are two devices connected. Yes. No, the one affects the other.
Yes.
Are you alone in the room? Because it appears as if there are two devices connected at the same time. So yours is affected by the second device.
Just quickly to another room. Maybe it'll be better.
Where's the chair? Honorable Direko.
Chair.
Honorable Direko, Honorable Mutambi. I don't think tonight.
Honorable Hadebe.
Yes, yes.
Honorable Hadebe, I think you may be the chair for now.
Okay. We're just waiting for.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
I have a suggestion to make. Given that Gauteng seems to have trouble with whatever is going on there,
yes.
Can we maybe take a set of questions about JB Marks, and then when Gauteng has their things sorted out, we can move to them?
Okay. What do other colleagues think?
Yes, we think, Chair, that's a good suggestion.
All right, then. Colleagues from Gauteng, while you're sorting out your technical glitches, we'll in the meantime then proceed with questions for JB Marks, Clockware, and Ventersdorp. Can I see by show of hands colleagues that would like to ask questions?
Chair, Brink.
Honorable Brink, you'll be the first one. Honorable Teza, you'll be the second. Is there any other colleague that would want to ask questions? Okay, let's proceed in that order. I will try in the meantime to get hold of the two chair and acting chair and find out what's happening with their connection. Honorable Brink, proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Hadebe. So it's clear that what we have here in JB Marks is the product of a merger between what I suppose was a partially functional municipality, to use the language of the Back to Basics program, which was Clockware, and a completely dysfunctional municipality, which was Ventersdorp. And the result, which I think we've seen in many instances, was again a completely dysfunctional municipality. So it's sort of a lowest common denominator, and let us not pretend that JB Marks is not dysfunctional. I mean, it has been under administration. I'm not sure if it's still under administration. Unfunded budget, extremely high rate of irregular expenditure, even compared with other municipalities in the Northwest, crumbling infrastructure. Even on the Clockware side, there's complaints of sewage spills and so on because of neglected infrastructure. And we have here tonight JB Marks telling us that the amalgamation grant was way too low to cover the liabilities of Ventersdorp and the cost of the amalgamation. There was widespread community unrest against the amalgamation, interestingly, not on the side of Clockware as much as on the side of Ventersdorp. And I believe that the burning down of that building that was referred to was in fact part of this community protest against the amalgamation. Nonetheless, it was pushed through despite the lack of means and even what I suppose is a deficit of legitimacy to establish a new successful municipality. And I think most strikingly is the comment that was made by the representative from JB Marks and I'm sure he's from his histories in Clockware, that the money spent on the merger could have been much better spent on service delivery. But Honorable Hadebe, Chairperson, I think that these were facts that were known beforehand. They weren't unpredictable. There were various parties that warned against the merger. Not as to wring their hands of the problems in Ventersdorp, only to say that the problems of Ventersdorp will not be solved with a merger with Clockware. And so, Chair, we don't play politics on this committee, and we have a very good cross-party cooperation. But one aspect in mergers has to be mentioned, and that is that some mergers of municipalities are motivated by party political interests. It's not unique to this province or this country. It is a worldwide phenomenon in history, and it's called gerrymandering. So if your political party loses control in a particular municipality, you collapse that municipality into another municipality where your party is strong, or the other way around. And what many parties alleged back in 2015 is that this was what motivated the merger of Tlokwe and Ventersdorp and the creation of JB Marks, because the political conditions in Tlokwe were changing. The governing party lost control of that municipality in 2013, and for 10 months it was governed by a coalition of the opposition and independent candidates. Now, it is very difficult to prove that that was the motive behind the merger, but in these instances, you can look at the behavior of interested parties when they move in that direction, despite rational, despite clear and compelling reasons not to. So that points to irrational conduct. So if there isn't the money, if there isn't the preparation, if there isn't the popular support, but there is still this move to absolutely continue, then it does point to the problem of a politically motivated merger. I'm sure that this will be denied, but it's very important that this committee considers the possibility, because if we're going to give meaningful comment on mergers, we have to look at all of the motivating factors, as well as an explanation why, against all objective considerations, interested parties would push for a merger. And that is more of a comment than anything else. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
I see Honorable Mutambi, are you back? Okay, I saw her logging in. If she's still struggling, can we then proceed with Honorable Keza? Honorable Mutambi, you will indicate when your network has stabilized and you are able to connect with us. Thank you. Honorable Keza, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I myself am of the view that building capacity in underperforming municipalities should have been a priority rather than rushing overnight the issue of Tlokwe without following due processes, which then leaves me with a suspicion that there are politics being manipulated, and the voting districts and the borderlines being manipulated for political expediency and nothing else. And which brings me to my question then. At the center of all that meddling might be that we have a group of leadership that has actually forgotten the basic purpose of being in municipalities and the reasons to measure them or not to measure them. That we would have, in an ideal situation, we would have prevented a situation that is detrimental to the well-being of the people at all cost, and opt for means in which we amalgamate while guarding against the pressure, the financial pressure that could be put by erstwhile municipalities into the new. Which brings me to JB Marks, Chairperson. I do not know, apart from the meeting, from meeting the obligations, the financial obligations and so on, is the municipality able to deal with the forensic investigation into some of the list of projects that have been seen to have been involved in fraud, corruption, and maladministration, with irregular expenditure in Sarafina Stadium, Apple Pie Road construction, construction of roads, ghost payments, overtime payments, irregular appointments, as well as fraud and corruption. And so I would like to ask as to how far the municipality has actually gone in terms of these forensic investigations, and if they have capacity in light of the fact that there seemed to be a deliberate decorum that is caused of the MPECs in that municipality not to raise some of the issues given the allegations of irregular projects, but Chairperson, also the irregular appointments of people in human resource as human resource managers who are actually who do not possess a degree or any qualifications for the posts, and people who are jumping from 19,000 and into walking away with 50,000, and really on the ground while we are consulting the councillors and MPLs of our organization, really there was nothing. Even the people of Tlokwe are actually saying that was made overnight just for political expedience, and it had not had any results really, such that people want to go back to their erstwhile municipality. So really, some of these things called amalgamations are of political interest. They should be treated as such. And there was an instruction, Chairperson, of the Northwest Portfolio Committee on local government into the investigation of this of the 45.5 million, and we would like to know as to how far is that of the state. I mean, near Ikageng, Chairperson. So and also the overspending on overtime and so forth, and in earnest, Chairperson, there's nothing that has changed and translated on the ground in terms of bearing the results. And Chairperson, lastly, just to really come on board very carefully, you are amalgamating municipalities that were. Do you look at the new economic activities within the new municipalities in terms of the complaints that you submitted to us, that there are no you even said the black townships have household debts, and I mean, please, have you looked at the historical issues and look at the new economic activities that we are proposing, and look at the unemployment rate in terms of what needs to be resolved with regards to household debts? That's my submission for now, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Kazam. Colleagues, can I get an indication whether or not Honorable Mutambi, are you back? Honorable Direko?
I'm back. I'm back, Honorable Hadebe.
Yes, Chair.
Honorable
we only
Hadebe,
had.
Yes.
Okay, Chair, you can take over. We had two questions that were posed. We were struggling with the presentation from Gauteng, and then we had resolved to, in the meantime, take questions.
Yes,
in relation.
I was there already. I got it myself.
All right.
To deal with the questions.
Yes, we'll
questions for Northwest.
Yes, we'll hand
yes,
over.
I can respond, Chair.
All right.
Yes, that's the issue.
Yes,
can I also load my question?
All right. After
before the MEC responses, can
Okay.
I ask something as well?
Proceed, Chair.
Chair, yes, then you must just be on standby. My network and the one of the whip, that's terrible. Like maybe it's because of the day's meeting that we've been holding the whole day. Then the issue that I wanted to ask, which the MEC must be fair and honest with us. When you given the practical experience, as Honorable Brink has said on these issues, that's why we want to also hear from the MEC to say, given the practical experience of the amalgamation in the Northwest over the last 5 years, then we want to know from the province and treasury, including COGTA, do they still stand by the assumption that informing the motivation for the amalgamation as presented in slide 5 and 17 of the report that has been presented here? And then why did this assumption only consider the potential benefits and neglected the negative aspect and the potential costs in relation to that? And then the other issue is with regard to, in response to the post-amalgamation crisis at JB Max, the provincial executive intervened in terms of Section 139 of the Constitution. However, it was in this meeting last week, wherein the committee heard from the same province that Section 139 intervention were not effective. You have said that, MEC, and consequently, you were planning to invoke the underutilized provisions of Section 154. In the interim, what is the province actually doing with regard to the 3 billion in unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure reported in 2018-19 financial year, as well as reported inconsistencies in the COVID-19 expenditure reports? The last thing one want to know, what were the grounds for dismissing the community opposition to the Tlokwe and Ventersdorp merger? So those are the issues that I wanted MC to also consider, also taking into consideration the questions as raised by Honorable Brink and Honorable Kles. I believe Honorable Hadebe, when the MEC responses, you will be able to come with follow-ups. Over to you, MEC.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. In fact, let me just start it here. There was really no need from the beginning to have had Ventersdorp as a standalone municipality. Maybe we must start it there. You must remember it had only 5 branches, wards, and really we were not supposed to have agreed from the beginning that we should have a municipality that has only 5 wards. Even before we begin to address the assumptions. Now, the municipality that is located or made up of the farm areas will tell you that it is a municipality that is dominated by residents who are largely indigents. Now, there was no way that the municipality was going to be sustainable, even before we think that at the time the amalgamation was made, the political conditions were motivation. I do not deny nor agree that motivation could have been drawn from other factors, including the political situation at the time. But just that one is what we must agree. How do we think that a 5-ward or so municipality can sustain itself? That is made up of farms, where we would then have people working on farms, being indigent and not even able to have the sustainable livelihood. Let's just get it right there. But secondly, we must agree that the municipality was not going to be able to sustain itself because it was not having a strong revenue base, and that should be common sense. but it is dialectical, it is scientific, it is practical, it is so much natural that where you have then the communities of indigents being a dominant part of the population of the municipality, if we understand what is farming, it will mean in a particular space of the land, you would have only one rich white man and you would have 1,000 poor blacks. I wonder which magic formula was used at the time to arrive at the decision that we should have such kind of the municipality. So what we must just clarify just at the beginning. But secondly, the municipality that could not sustain itself with 5 branches had managers within its own establishment who were paid just like the municipality at Klerksdorp and so on. But because of its disadvantaged by virtue of lack of infrastructure, lack of all the necessary resources that the people need, could not even attract skillful people to perform miracles there. Had the municipality been able to attract skillful people, they were never going to perform any miracle because they had nothing to perform miracle with. Now, at the time when a decision was made that this municipality should be amalgamated, yes, and again, no, it could have not been because of the political issues or the tilting of balance of forces at the time. That one I would not engage in. But the lessons learned suggested that we made the decision as a demarcation, or whoever at the time made the decision, to have the municipality of that caliber, of that insufficient capacity, of that lack of resources, of that incapacity to generate revenue to stand on the loan. Maybe we must agree that the decision was correct. Maybe we must agree that it is a matter of when the decision was made that could be a concern to the honorable members, just to correct that one. The second point is that we agree that over time, the Potchefstroom, the Tlokwe municipality had its own challenges and they were growing. Because you would realize on the presentation that we showed that just a year before the amalgamation, Tlokwe began to experience challenges on and around its own audit outcome. I think that it should be the issue that we understand better, but also that it was reasonable for the leadership to agree to make sure that the resources Tlokwe had should be shared with the extremely disadvantaged communities of Ventersdorp. We were not going to agree that we should have had a scenario where we are segregating the municipality that cannot sustain itself, keep it aloof, keep it far from the one that was able to impact positively on the lives of the people who were located within the geographical space of Tlokwe. I think that was just reasonable enough. So Tlokwe had its own problems just before the amalgamation, and we agree that there was serious irregularity to the point where we were seriously concerned. And in terms of the AG, it was an ongoing concern on and around the issues of the UIFW. We agree also that the protests at or on and around Ventersdorp did not necessarily start when the amalgamation was being contemplated. there had been protests against the municipality because the municipality couldn't simply sustain itself. The people located in Ventersdorp had serious needs more than any other, and we know our problems. They do not start with the municipality. Our problems start with how do we make allocations, because our allocations, budget first will all the time be insufficient, but deployment of resources is in the form of budget formed by a model that municipalities themselves would not have a control over. The modalities for funding would not necessarily, Honorable Chair, consider the challenges of developmental backlogs and so on. So the financial and physical commission that creates the criterion for how we avail the funds for the municipality would not necessarily said, but Ventersdorp, because the people there are poor, would need more money. The more money goes to Tokwe. And those who made the decision to amalgamate intervened in the plight of the people of Ventersdorp, and we agree it was the best to have happened. So the protests have always been there because the municipality was just constrained. The municipality was not able to respond to the holistically to the needs of the people of Ventersdorp. When then the decision or proposition was made that they must be, Ventersdorp must be joined by or join Tlokwe, the protest intensified, and we might have to look into why. We know the managers in that situation where it's like were only people who were having one eye when the rest of the community was blind, because they were better and shining than anyone. They could pull all the strings and create all the scenarios. That is why after the actual amalgamation, the people of Ventersdorp find it easy and appreciated. The people of Ventersdorp are benefiting from the amalgamation, and they found it easy, and they are continuing their lives under a better conditions. When you are told by a person with one eye that it is dangerous there, when the truth is those who influenced the protest at Ventersdorp were in fact managers who benefited more than the people there. People began to saw it different. I was just trying to respond to what could have been the situation there, and how it could have been there. Now, having responded to that in that form, one would want to say we do not have a magic formula where we are seated and now. That confirms our assertion that decision could have been politically motivated. Even before politics come in, the reality is the people were already suffering. And the people who are owners of farms in the area of Ventersdorp were taking what they were earning from the economic activity there straight to Tlokwe. That is why I'm saying we agree. We could have had the situation where the motivation at the time could have been drawn from multiplicity of factors. Amongst them, it is true, it could have been political as well, Honorable Chair Mutambi. It is my assertion where I'm standing that even before political reasons motivated the amalgamation, the real material conditions of our people, the real conditions where we had the municipality that had no capacity, where could have been the real reasons. Politics could have been just additional thing. Yes, there were shifts on the political plateau. Yes, because after the amalgamation, you would know Tokwe brought 5 ward councillors and 4 or so of the PR councillor, and the difference after the party that won the leadership there from the elections was 2. So we'd always have different view, but we have no straight answers. We are engaging from assumptions, but on the scientific base, no one would dispute it. It was urgent and it was necessary, and there was never a need from the beginning to have had vendors of standing alone. We agree also that the protests have damaged the documentation, and you would remember there are many ways to deal with that. Amongst them, the issue of going to the ledger account, where there will be a reflection of the financial transactions that would have happened. And the next thing would be to have explanatory notes trying to regenerate a portfolio of evidence to support the transactions reflected on the ledger, to the point that there was a move from disclaimer to the qualified, which suggested, despite the banning, some of the interventions made have helped to make some form of redress. When you look at UIFW, I've tried to explain it many times. Maybe before that, we must agree in response to the question raised by Honorable Chair Mutambi about the positive and the negative, that the negative, in fact, were just not there. It was all the positives that motivated why we must merge, because it is assumed from the furthest point that merging vendors or both Tokwe have meant that it was only resolving political problems. It's not true. It was directly responding to the plight of our people there. The UIFW is when our people are told that there is this UIFW unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Let me deal with irregular and leave others. When there is irregularity, there is a protocol in treasury on how you must see irregularity. And that protocol by its form is very progressive. The challenge is that we have managers who do not do their work because taking to or acting on consequence management is a competence of management, meaning discipline is responsibility of managers at all levels to the lowest supervisory first line functionary, not the responsibility of politicians. Now, when you are told that they have built a hall, but there was the point where they missed one step, and the Auditor General arrives at the decision that says, because the value of the hall is 1 million, then the irregularity is 1 million. It is what we can also debate. You must remember, the Auditor General does not necessarily look into whether or not there was a corruption. Let's look at it. You build a hall, there is a variation order of 20,000 rand. That 20,000 rand, if it is erroneously made and you pay the service provider, the opinion says the irregularity is on 1-point-something million, not necessarily the only 20,000. The community looks at it and say, the money is in the pocket of the politician, the money is in the pocket of the managers. If we start to deal with consequence management, what does it mean? We will know automatically, but the rules will want us to investigate and say, but at this level of finance, there was a person with who's level 5 junior who did not, before processing a 20,000 variation order, do 1, 2, 3. As a result, it creates the whole 1 million as if it is a irregularity. And because we know it is a level 5 clerk, Auditor General does not necessarily say we must throw that people under the bus, but we can then send that person to train, issue a final written warning, because when you assess the irregularity, you must prove that the municipality has suffered a loss, whether there was a benefit, whether that service or good was delivered, and the building is here. It's 1.1 million. 20,000 is irregularity. The whole 1 million point something is made irregularity. When the Auditor General says so, it's because of how the Auditor General process the AFS. We must remember, the Auditor General also deals with the determined objectives. It is delivered. But how they package the papers for the Auditor General to peruse creates a problem, and the Auditor General brings a completely different. And as politicians, people are looking at us, whether we really understand these things, to the extent that we can give impression to them that this is the real situation. So I'm saying even where there is irregularity, it does not mean there was no service, but it means the manager at any level should have acted, discipline, suspend, demote, take to jail a person who has done irregularity. And that's how the treatment protocol dictates. And it means we then have the scenario where there is no longer irregularity. The figures that we see in 2018, 2019, Honorable Mutambi, on the opinion of the AG, does not mean that the people who are in the office as we speak now are the one who are responsible for 1 billion or so, or 3 billion of purchased room, because it is accumulating. When you don't resolve it in 2009, when you don't resolve it in 2015, you are going to get it in 2040, and it will be added up with all other irregularities, and the figures becomes big, and it intimidates you and gives somebody a leverage to call others corrupt, even if it comes from the past. Because those who move into the office inherit all the problems of it. That is why we expect them to act. We'll unpack that matter in the other sitting as we try to change the red to green, and we'll explain how we got it right. Let's just look at it. You cannot attract the best CFO to the Ventersdorp, and you, of course, would have expected crisis there at Ventersdorp, because you cannot attract the best CEO, especially given the grading of the municipality, and given how the devolving of the responsibilities to municipalities are not followed by funds. Also, even given the reality that even if you owe municipality, there is no law that makes it easy for municipality to blacklist you so that you can come running and pay the municipality. Many will die owing the municipality, and we are still going to have a serious findings and a matter of emphasis on the areas of revenue and so. And if we don't clarify this, our kids after 20 years would be on the same take and argument that have no reality being considered on it. We have opened criminal case. Maybe how are we going to deal with the UIFW at Poch? Over and above the work being done internally by municipality itself to try to make redress. Look, we have corrected this municipality. We have said it is not the responsibility of MPEG to investigate irregularity, it's the responsibility of manager. And that delegation is with the municipal manager, and the delegation must be decentralized to all other managers. Now, these people think to investigate a cleaner, you must appoint a lawyer, a consultant, and dismiss a cleaner with a lawyer. It's not what you must do. The resolutions on public service disciplinary code and procedure provides that a manager, either within the same municipality or at another municipality, getting the salary of government, can come and investigate and make recommendation and close this matter. It's not what they are doing. They think they must be having budget for litigations. No. Now, the UIFW, we have said, we will, of course, request two things. One, managers would establish a framework and a clear protocol on how to deal with the issues of irregularities and the consequence management, Honorable Mutambi. We will assist the municipality with that protocol in 2 weeks' time or so. We'll be clarifying how they can get it right and change the figures, the situation. But we are also going to involve the Auditor General. In all the reports of the Auditor General, there is no this thing missing there that says the AG is available to assist and the municipalities are not using it. But what is good is, if it is the power of the municipality to deal with these matters and they don't do that, and look, we are not even going to request for a council resolution because AG is an institution supporting democracy. We only need to write a letter to AG in terms of our engagement to say, AG, over and above you doing your AFS and the predetermined objectives on your selected areas, please, on the issues you have identified that made this municipality red, do the forensic investigation. That one is just like requesting a public protector to investigate. Does not need a council resolution. And we can quickly use that also to drag people to prison where we find that it is a disaster. And we are going to do that. But we have warned the managers, we are coming from the 2-day saga, that if you don't do it, you are inviting us to do it at the level of our responsibility. The problem with this not understand, even including to politically elected, a space that to compose the political leadership of deal with municipality administratively, and we are going to succeed on it. The COVID cases have been opened. We have found that at Potchefstroom.
MEC, we are losing you completely now. We are losing you. Honorable Chair.
Was this company, you would, because that company, this header by the network, but our spirit, it is all over in the province. You go to Potchefstroom, it gets all the tenders on and around COVID. We open a criminal case, and the Hawks have assured us on this matter that they are dealing with it. Now, my take is, we never dismissed the community protest against the amalgamation, but the protest escalated when amalgamation came, because protest was fueled, the protest was organized, the protest was coordinated, and those who did that painfully divided that community. But many are beginning to realize that they have drawn benefit more than a loss. The economic activities includes it's called N12 development, or what, N4 development, that the president pronounced on it, that the provincial government is making efforts to make sure that it adds positive impetus to the lives of our people. And it is not only the economic activity that is unfolding there. You would realize, for example, Honorable Mutambi, that amongst others, there are initiatives that are being made by the Agricultural Department, initiatives that are being made by the local economic development. But what we need to do better is to shape the planning to enable the integration of
MEC,
activities of all others. Yes,
MEC,
Honorable Mutambi. Yes, Honorable Mutambi.
MEC, you must
Yes,
summarize
Honorable
now.
Mutambi.
We still have Gauteng presentation. You must
Okay, yes, I
summarize
agree.
now. We still have Gauteng presentation, and
No,
the
I'm at
colleagues
the
still
end,
have
and thank you very
follow-ups.
much. Yes, I thank you very much, Honorable Mutambi. I think I pause here. Thanks.
Thank you. Honorable Brink.
Thanks very much, Chair. Yes, I think, Chair, what I might have called gerrymandering, the MEC calls balance of forces. So whatever you call it, I think we can acknowledge that the changing of boundaries for political reasons is a real motivator, and that we should guard against it because it facilitates irrationality. But let me just make two short points, Chairperson. I think there are two non sequiturs, two deductive fallacies that are often used to defend mergers. And the first is that, oh, but this town was never going to be viable. It was inevitably going to run out of money because it had so many people. It only had 6 wards, which means it had 12 seats in council and only farms. Well, in the case of Ventersdorp, yeah, sure, farms, but it is called an agricultural town. Many other towns across the country have got the same demographic and economic profile as that, and it is not inevitable that they collapse. Much smaller places, transport centers like Prince Albert, a town that resembled Ventersdorp was probably Kungwini, Bronkhorstspruit in Gauteng, which was merged into Tshwane, not because of its collapse. In fact, it was a viable municipality. It was the other municipality that was merged into Tshwane that had collapsed. So to say that it is inevitable that Ventersdorp should never have been a municipality from the outset, I think is a fallacy. It's not just a lack of a revenue base that affects the viability of a municipality. It's also the fact that it's been misgoverned for many years. So misgovernment, the waste of resources, it has an accumulative effect over many years that depresses economic development and in fact leads to a situation that is called, oh, but we're not viable now. The second non sequitur, Chairperson, is that if we merge a municipality that is fairly functional with one that is completely dysfunctional, it is sort of a redistribution of resources so as to create a more equitable community, as a form of social justice. But I'm not sure that the residents of Ventersdorp are better off now that they are part of a municipality called JB Marks. And I'm not sure we will be able to say that JB Marks is functional 10 years from now, whether it has a university or not. And to say that, oh no, but yeah, because we got this other place and it went well there, you know, let's redistribute the benefits. What often happens is that you create a machine that gobbles up resources to the benefit of nobody. And I think it was perfectly articulated by the representative from JB Marks when he said money that could have been spent on better service delivery is being spent to fund the merger. So the bureaucracy gobbles up resources. It doesn't necessarily get redistributed. Chairperson, I'm not saying this because I think that it's possible to unscramble this JB Marks egg. I doubt that it is. To try and re-establish municipalities will probably cost more than the merger. And so, you know, if the MEC feels that he should defend it because there's a risk of an unscrambling, I don't think that's an issue. It's more of a forensic exercise to see what happened in the past and to try and avoid it in future. And that's why I think it's important that we acknowledge that gerrymandering, balance of forces, does play a role in these decisions, but that it shouldn't. That these decisions must be very, very carefully made, and that we should consider beforehand that what Treasury is proposing as an amalgamation grant is not sufficient, and that more lobbying and more preparation and other alternatives have to be considered because mergers complicate matters and they come with their own problems. Thanks, Chair.
Have we lost the chairperson once again? Honorable Mutambi? Colleagues, are there any members that would like to make a follow-up? Or should we go straight to Honorable Mutambi? Are you back? Honorable Mutambi? MEC, there was a follow-up from Honorable Brink. If you can just respond.
No, in fact, we do not differ, Chair, with the honorable member. We are only saying we are engaging, having views, and they are subjective, of course, because we agree there hasn't been any study to draw the lessons from the amalgamation. We also agree that there might be multiplicity of reasons why some decisions are made. And as much as I've also reflected that even from the beginning it was not necessary, another person can say this is a negation of the negation. Another person can say, yeah, even when we decided to amalgamate, it was wrong. But we do not have any magic formula. It's the view and it is subjective. In our presentation, we have reflected that the graphical presentation of the different levels of income within the area of jurisdiction of local municipality showed that the no income category may represent both the individuals who are unemployed or those self-employed in the informal sector, because we do not really have data that points to it. But what we know is that in the Ventersdorp is the agricultural area, and the agricultural area was even before owned by the particular category or race. And during the democracy, up until the point of amalgamation, there was no single agricultural sector activity that translated to the benefit of the population or the residents there. In fact, there was nothing empowering to them. The agricultural just remained historical in the contemporaneous time. So we cannot even argue that there was prospects of any change for the benefit of that majority. Our submission is there was never need from the beginning. That's and it's necessary that the cost should be incurred to integrate the communities of Ventersdorp into Tlokwe so that there could be a shared benefit, because the monies that were made out of Ventersdorp built Tlokwe and developed Tlokwe, and the people they had to benefit from it. What has not happened effectively is that not much of the economic advantage of Tlokwe have been translated into the benefit of the people of Ventersdorp. That is why there are economic initiatives, amongst them the one pronounced by the president, and we hope that there will be a positive impact that changes people's life as we continue to make efforts to share the resources and change the people. I will just tell you something. When there was a decision that, look, there is a serious problem here with the people of Ventersdorp. They cannot afford to pay this and that, and the municipality made a plan to provide them with some form of a relief. The people at Potchefstroom said, but we are also not going to pay because we've got same problems, and why don't you also provide us with some form of relief to the extent that we can be recused from some other obligations. So it will always be a contested terrain. So we are not differing. We agree that until we are able to make a scientific assessment, we will remain with the subjective views. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, MEC. Honorable Mutambi, are you back? MEC says we do not differ, our singing from the same hymn book. Colleagues, if there are no other follow-up question, can we then take the presentation from Gauteng? And thank you so much, MEC, for your time and your responses. We truly appreciate your presence. Can we
Thank
then,
you very much.
You're welcome. Can you proceed to Gauteng? Hopefully the issue of the feedback in terms of the sound has been resolved. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. We'll request the COO to check if the sound is okay. If not, Honorable Chair will allow Ms. Obando to take us through the entire presentation. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
We can hear you loud and clear. Not sure about your other colleagues, but on your side, you are very clear. Icon, whoever attempted to speak, we are now even worse than before. We can't hear a single word coming out of his mouth.
In the interest of time, Chair, can I request that Ms. Obando take us through the whole presentation?
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Obando, and I'm the Director for Governance and Traditional Institutional Management in the Gauteng Province. Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee. In terms of our report outline, we'll just talk about the sustainability and viability of the amalgamated municipality. Then we'll go into the section 154 support that we've provided to the municipality. We'll talk a little bit about the turnaround plan that we've developed with the municipality for the period going forward. Just in terms of introduction, the process for the redetermination of outer boundaries really started in 2011, July 2011, and concluded on the 15th of October 2013, when the Municipal Demarcation Board pronounced and confirmed that Randwest municipality was going to be amalgamated into a single municipality with Western Area. At the time, Gauteng had 3 municipalities that it was intending to redetermine. The one was obviously the Randfontein Western Area. The others was Midvaal and Mfuleni, as well as Ekurhuleni and Lesedi. However, I think Kevin articulated that in his presentation, given a court challenge, the ones in Sedibeng affecting Midvaal, Lesedi, as well as Mfuleni and Ekurhuleni was abandoned. Just in terms of Western Area and what Western Area looked like before the amalgamation, it had a population of just over 110,000, which represented about 1% of Gauteng's population at the time. Its per capita income generally amongst its people was quite low. It was around 38,000 per annum. And the municipality was really the lowest of the 4 municipalities falling within the West Rand district at the time. Just in terms of its household infrastructure service delivery at that point in time, Western Area's index figure was 0.63 in 1997. It dropped to 0.58 in 2004, but subsequently improved by the time of the merger. In terms of the housing backlog at the time, before the merger, Western Area had significant housing and electricity backlogs, and it was and access to water was about the backlog was about 7.27%. I haven't started with the presentation, Tafita. I'm just giving some background into the two municipalities. Just in terms of the payment levels at the time before, they really were at 87% in 2011-2012. And the sustainable liquidity level of Western area generated approximately 70 million at the time, which required urgent intervention. In terms of Randfontein represented 1.2% of the population of Gauteng, 148,000 people, more or less. Its per capita income amongst the population within Randfontein was about 51,000 per annum. Unemployment figures were around 38%, 36.2%. 17% of the household fell within the equitable share income bracket, and 82% of the households should have received infrastructure services at that point in time. Just in terms of the public participation process before the amalgamation, the Municipal Demarcation Board had, after its findings, informed the two municipalities, Randfontein Local Municipality and Western Area Local Municipality, to initiate a process of consultation, which it duly did. The two municipalities consulted, and the representations made were then presented to the Municipal Demarcation Board, as well as the respective councils. And the amalgamation was generally supported and agreed upon by all parties concerned. Furthermore, the municipalities embarked on a consultative process which were informed and to get responses and inputs from sector stakeholders and community members. A consolidated report was prepared and subsequently submitted to the Municipal Demarcation Board. Both municipalities eventually merged on the 3rd of August in 2016 to form the Rand West City Local Municipality, a Category B municipality with a combined population size of 270,000. The main economic activities included mining, industrial concerns, as well as urban farming. Municipalities experienced a significant decline in the economic sector alone due to the alarming job losses in the mining sector. The unemployment combined rate after the amalgamation was 36%, which was well above the provincial rates. The municipality had serious challenges characterized by low liquidity and cash flow levels. At the start of the project, actually even before the project, once it was announced by the Municipal Demarcation Board in 2013, the National Treasury already decided to support the municipalities, and a combined total of 21 million was received for salary equalization, and that was just the Gauteng COGTA support. At the same time, COGTA also supported the municipality with 10 million to support the administration of the municipal merger. Here we identified a consultancy company which was supposed to lead the process of amalgamation for the municipality, in line with the target set out by National COGTA. So National Treasury in total availed 17.9 million for pre and post-merger support programs. Working together with Provincial Treasury, the Department COGTA, as well as SALGA, we put in place several structures, steering committees, political steering committees, as well as technical steering committees, task teams, and work streams. And that was also to facilitate the merger. And these were working with the consultancy company that was identified. To date, 31.8 million grant from both Provincial COGTA as well as National Treasury have been fully spent by the process. The amalgamated municipalities, Western Area and Randfontein, were on different salary scales as well as job grading system before the merger. Western Area was on task and Randfontein was on the Van der Merwe system. And this led to some significant salary disparities immediately after the amalgamation, because these couldn't be ironed out before the merger on the 3rd of August. A lot of them were stuck in processes with the local labor forums of the two independent municipalities and couldn't be sorted out before then. The management and labor then signed a migration and placement agreement, which outlined the transformation process, and it was binding to both parties. At the start of the merger on the 3rd of August, I think the very first council also were presented with a number of different things, including the organizational structure. So they did deliberate on the organizational structure, and I think before the end of the year, they had already signed off on the organizational structure for the new municipality. The unions then reneged on that agreement and embarked on unlawful industrial action that severely affected service delivery in the municipality. Management compromised and harmonized salaries, and these indicated above, and these were still needed to be finalized by the end of the project period. The process also didn't take into consideration the years of experience of employees, which resulted into the renewed industrial action and protest marches, which took place in Rand West local municipality in around 2016, 2017. The MEC of COCTA was requested to intervene and between management and labor. A task team was formed and constituted of labor, management, and it was facilitated by Liaga on behalf of COCTA. Liaga was then mandated to investigate the financial implications in relation to the salary disparities and identified which employees were affected by this process. Management, together with Liaga, calculated the implementation of the placement, and by 30th of June 2017, this amounted to 18 million, excluding benefits. In the meantime, the Municipal Council approved the organizational structure. It became evident that the transformation grants allocated were inadequate to cover the full cost of the merger. As mentioned earlier, the municipalities received a further grant of 3.2 million for job evaluation in 2017, and a further 2.6 million, which was utilized for salary disparities. In addition to that, by May 2017, the municipality received a further 8 million, which is all included in the previous amount that was mentioned, the 21 million in total, given by the provincial government. Randwest City inherited several liabilities in the form of huge creditors from the former Randfontein local municipality and the Western Area municipality, which put a huge strain on the municipality's finances. In addition, the merger coincided with the end of employment contracts with several of the Section 56 managers, which created its own challenges. So there wasn't any continuity between the old administration and the new administration going forward. And it took the municipality a couple of months in order to appoint various senior managers in their posts. The current DORA allocation did not meet and take into account the amalgamation costs in totality and its huge service delivery demands, as well as the liabilities that were brought over from the existing municipality to the new municipality. The post-merger grading system is still unresolved, and it holds huge financial implications for the institution. The municipality required a costly new consolidated valuation roll by the end of July 2021, It is still hindered by some of the old mining disputes on rates, which is causing a financial strain on the municipality, and this still needs to be resolved. The review of the organizational structure still needs to be finalized. The municipality has commenced with this process, but it hasn't been finalized and approved by council. The post-merger placement process still needs to be completed. So there's a number of things that haven't been able to be finalized by the end of the project, particularly with regard to the human resources issue. Post-merger change management processes were not taken into consideration, as well as the post-merger funding regime. The full integration of the IT system still required attention even after the merger, including the IT infrastructure, the support that was needed. The consolidation of the asset register and related software still needed to be finalized, as well as the salary disparities. So in terms of the financial performance implications, the full integration of the waste management planning and operation is still required. Consolidated road infrastructure master plan required funding. The development of bylaws needed to be promulgated. They were rationalized but not eventually promulgated by the municipality. Economic spin-offs of the merger are yet to be realized. In terms of the Section 154 support to the municipality, on the 1st of November 2017, Provincial Treasury appointed an advisor to assist the municipality over an 18-month period. The support focused largely on securing bulk supply, outstanding merger issues, as well as improving financial viability, training and development, as well as strategic support to the municipal manager. At the same time, National Treasury also assigned a finance expert in the finance department of the Rand West City local municipality. At this point in time, the municipality was left without a CFO for quite some time. The support successes achieved through the 154 process included securing bulk supply by ensuring regular payments to Eskom and Rand Water. However, the challenges that emerged after the support program was less than desirable because of the support measures that were not fully sustained by the municipality. The municipality then went into significant outstanding payments to creditors like Eskom and Rand Water. MDB and TCR contracts does not aid the municipality, and new contractual arrangements needed to be instituted so that the municipality could be served more appropriately by the two contracts. During the 154 support program, 3 work streams were established, including institutional support, governance, and infrastructure and finance. The following challenges emerged after the support program, which was significant outstanding payments to creditors, as mentioned earlier. The debt collection contract by MDB was not yielding the intended results, and the municipal revenue collection declined over the period. In May 2020, the MECs of COCTA and Finance were informed of the severity of the municipality's financial state. A letter was written in relation to Section 135 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. In response, officials from the Rand West City COCTA and Treasury met to establish further information regarding the municipal's financial state. The officials found that the municipality's finances have shown consistent deterioration over the past few years, and COVID-19 and the resultant lockdown added to that financial position. In terms of Section 135, 353, Rand West Municipality implemented the following solutions in order to overcome the financial challenges: cost containment measures, revenue enhancement, reduction of water and electricity losses, an audit of electricity meters, particularly of prepaid meters, the finalization of the disputes with mines on evaluation, the audit of property valuations, the finalization of lease agreements for government property rentals, audit and collection of advertising signs, reconditioning of its weighbridge, vigorous implementation of debt collection and credit control policies to improve payment levels. Despite these interventions, they didn't have as much success and as much traction as we would have hoped for. To this end, the support team from COCTA, GPT, as well as the Rand West City local municipality met to develop a comprehensive turnaround plan. The turnaround plan, over the past few months, we've been meeting regularly with the municipality at least once a week to design and develop appropriate measures to take the municipality forward. There are several strategic pillars that we're working on within the turnaround plan. The one is governance, and it is led by the MM's office. Institutional development, which is led by corporate services, financial management, the CFO's office, as well as financial planning and to develop a credible budget, revenue management and enhancement, service delivery, infrastructure development and management, economic development. The 7 pillars outlined in the plan is effectively what gives the turnaround strategy. Just in terms of the process that we followed, in terms of the roadmap, we've divided the implementation plan into a short-term implementation plan, medium implementation plan, as well as a long-term implementation plan. The short-term 0 to 6 months really looks at high-impact projects that can yield the best results. The medium-term projects also high impact, but requires some efforts and time to address these. And these take place from 6 months to 12 months. And then, of course, medium to high impact projects that have external dependencies and would take longer than 12 months. Just in terms of what the turnaround plan really looks at, and we have circulated the turnaround plan to the members for a look, but it really addresses key things like the AG findings, UIFW. It looks specifically at the bylaws and the promulgation of the bylaws. It has a specific intervention on ethics and institutionalizing ethics in the municipality. It also addresses organizational design and labor matters. It will look at specific interventions to improve financial viability and revenue enhancement. It will also look at the property valuation and the development of the valuation role by next year, June, as well as addressing key issues like the mining disputes, which is still outstanding. The municipality has done a lot in order to move that mining dispute forward, as well as interventions specifically concerning revenue losses, credit control, and financial sustainability of the municipality. In conclusion, the parties that are concerned in improving the financial viability of the municipalities, namely Rand West City, Gauteng, Cooperative Treasury, we have been concerned about the viability and the challenges faced by the municipality in April 2020. Given the letter that was compiled by the municipalities in terms of Section 135, which outlines the serious challenges of the municipality, we've hosted several meetings between 3 parties in order to develop a turnaround plan to support and develop key challenges, to resolve key challenges within the municipality. The implementation of this strategy will be driven by resuscitating the work streams as well as the technical task streams that were aligned to the 7 pillars that was established within the merger process and followed through in terms of the Section 154 process. So those would really be the work streams that will develop and implement the short, medium, and long-term action. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues. It appears as if the chair, Honorable Mutambi, she's still struggling with connectivity. Can we then take questions from honorable members that would like to interact with the presentation?
Chair, Honorable Brink, please.
Honorable Brink, you'll be the first one. Do you have any other members?
That will be me, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Brink, Honorable Kaiza, and Honorable Kosilutuli Matlanduna, you'll be the third one.
Oh, siyabonga.
Honorable Brink, proceed.
Thanks very much, Chair. I think that that it's become clear that in most of these instances, the cost of a merger is always underestimated. A merger like this is meant to be a solution to the problem of financial viability, either of one municipality or both of the components. But as the example of Rand West illustrates to us, the cost of a merger are sometimes so high as to make any possible benefit, or to negate any possible benefit, at least in the medium, the short to medium term. And I think the example mentioned by the representative from the Gauteng government about the labor instability and unrest that results from trying to merge these different sets of employment conditions is one of the examples that are typically underestimated. The same thing happened in the city of Tshwane, where I was a councillor, where years after the fact, employees from the former Kungwini and Nokengta Taimane have substantially different benefits and allowances than Tshwane employees. And when you try and touch any of those benefits, make them uniform, despite the benefit to the officials joining from smaller municipalities in terms of pay grade, there is very strong resistance from individual employees as well as unions. So my question to the representative from Gauteng, and I hope she is willing to give a candid response, is from a provincial perspective, should we not review the criteria that we look at, the tools that we use to measure what is needed to fund a successful amalgamation? Because clearly those tools and those criteria are insufficient. They don't measure the labor costs and the institutional costs of having to merge IT systems and all of the things that were presented in very great detail by the representative from Gauteng. That's the first question. The second question, and I hope you'll allow me to ask this, Chairperson, even though it's not part of the presentation, is Gauteng related, and it is about Tshwane. In 2015, which is also a municipality that is the result of a merger, in 2015, the then mayor of Tshwane, Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, in fact threatened the national government with litigation because of the 1 billion rand cost of the merger between Tshwane, Kungwini, and Nokengza Taimane in 2011. So that 1 billion cost assessment was already tabled in council in 2013. And by 2015, the mayor said that depending on the outcome of intergovernmental relations processes, they were even considering litigation. And my question to the Gauteng representative is, does she share the view expressed then by Mayor Ramokgopa that Tshwane was in fact shortchanged by 1 billion? And can anything be done to redress that situation? Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Qeza.
Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm going to be very, very brief because some of the issues have been covered by my colleague who spoke before me, Honorable Brink. Chair, we are also of the view that municipalities being at the coalface of service delivery must then invite a debate around the division of revenue, because we get the feeling that whenever there are financial incapabilities of municipalities, then we rush to this amalgamation process without following due process. In the spirit of trying to resolve the issue of financial viability. But it does not seem that questions are answered pertaining to what is the current situation and what is the current sustainable situation in terms of economic activities in those municipalities. And perhaps it invites that debate that we should speak to the formulae of the division of revenue, whether it is west at its west to deal with the monies that are coming from the national fiscus into the provinces, and whether anyway we need provinces to, because no one stays in the provinces. But Chairperson, the general picture of the functionality of municipalities impacts directly on the ability of municipalities in providing quality service to the people. That is at the center of the entire situation, with salary disparities and all those challenges that are faced in the erstwhile municipalities, and with vacancy rates of some 11 municipalities and 4 municipal managers positions that are vacant in the province of Gauteng, with senior manager posts that are at the west, with West Rand having 33% vacancy rate and so forth. My question is, how do you comprehend a situation like that, and what do you attribute these challenges to? Aren't these challenges a lack of strategic direction and lack of financial prudence, and just a lack of visionary leadership to see things coming from afar? Thank you very much, Chairperson. That is what was submitted.
Thank you, Honorable Qeza. Honorable Matanduna.
Thank you, Chair. Although I'm covered with our previous speakers, but I would like to get only one question now. I think I got in my mind. What is this estimate post-merge funding required to support the post-merge processes in Rand West City? That I think that is all at this present moment. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Before I hand over to Gauteng to respond, I am very much concerned. When you were presenting, you indicated that the redetermination processes started in July 2011 and finally on the 3rd of August 2016. Given the time it took, which is almost 5 years, and the challenges that you are faced with, during the entire process, were all these issues that are area of concern, were they not picked up or planned accordingly in terms of intervening in alleviating some of these challenges? You've indicated that even the support in the form of Section 133 implementation of the solutions, they did not yield any positive results. It appears as if this municipality, for its survival, it is dependent on grants. Now, the question that one would like to understand, is this municipality sustainable? The 7 points turnaround plan, will it really save and ensure that this municipality is sustainable in the long run? What you have presented to us paints a picture of the municipality that cannot survive without assistance, be it from National Treasury, COGTA, in terms of grant. It cannot survive on its own. You have also indicated that you have inherited liability in huge creditors. Didn't you pick that up when you were busy with the process in between 2011 and 2016? What exactly the pre and post merger process entails, if some of these issues are going to be picked up after and at the later stage, and that brings more problems than the solution that we ought to have envisaged when we embarked on this process? I would just like to get a sense, please give us a sense, any indicators, barometers, whatever that you do to determine the process that will ultimately say to you, yes, we are now ready for a merger. We can sign on the dotted line and conclude that it's all system goes immediately after we are encountering this something it's not right. And I don't understand why DORA does not take into account the amalgamation process. I would like to get an understanding if the representative from National is with us to give us a sense why the Division of Revenue Act does not take into account the fact that this municipality has emerged, the amalgamation and the service delivery challenges that comes with that. Excuse my ignorance, but I would like to get a sense the difference between your salary grading system, your funder remember system, and task system. Is a funder remember system better than the task? You opted to use the funder remember. What are the benefits of such a system? Does it come with more challenges, or does it solve the issue that is confronted by the two merged municipalities? And in future, are you going to be dependent on grants? Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I see you are back. I'm not too sure whether you would want to also pose questions before we hand over to the colleagues from Gauteng to respond. The Rand West Local Municipality Chair.
There were times where I thought you have staged a coup, because I've been here for quite some time. When she finished presenting, I was here.
My apologies.
But I said, okay, I've already given you the responsibility. Then my hand was also on the raise hand icon. I'm just putting riders and additions on what you colleagues have raised. And I think it's high time we all admit this has been an executive decision that was not well thought. Because you see, through our experiences, we've been dealing with amalgamation since the 13th of November. I don't see a single case wherein you'll find that the colleagues will say, yes, this amalgamation has yielded results. That's why now I want to throw it to Dr. Naidu and Dr. Nkash, that they need to tell us here today, because you see the labor relation matters are all across all the municipalities that we've interacted with here. Because you can see the one that was coming from Western Area and Randfontein, definitely their salary grade were different. And by law, you are not allowed to decrease. It means those that were coming with lower salary scales, they benefited because they had to be put at par with their counterparts. It's a pity for those that left from, but the advantage of them, even when they left to municipalities with lower grades, their salaries then had to be not to be reduced because the law doesn't allow to do that. Then I want an honest response from Dr. Naidu in particular. Can you tell us, in all these municipalities that were merged, was there any scoping study that was conducted before amalgamation in order to assess the financial implications? Because you will agree with us, since we started these exercises, there are challenges. Labor matters, they remain unresolved. Yes, those others have taken the municipalities to courts. And then to me also, even if there was the money, we were told it was made available for 3 years. Was there a situation wherein then the department went back, because even those that got the money, they will tell you the money has never been enough. Then post the 3 years, what happens? Because now the reality, we are still seated with municipalities that have been amalgamated, that we've got serious problems. Some, it's now almost 5 years, they've not yet resolved the staffing matters. So that's the issue that I want the department to honestly comment on that and tell us how are they intending, because since we started, you have been here, Dr. Naidu and the colleagues, it's repeated, the DG is not here, because you can see there's a problem. And then how do we help these municipalities to navigate out of these problems that it's our own creation? Because that was the decision that has been taken, but I don't think there were proper studies. And at the same time, I want you, Dr. Naidu, to address this issue to say, by the merger, it's like only the focus was on the financial viability, not then respecting the issues that's provided by Section 152 of the Constitution, because in all these measures now, all those closer service points for people have been taken away from them, especially the rural municipalities. Then people have to go now to cities, more kilometers in other areas. The other one was telling us now the radius of the municipality has increased. It's from one point to another, you have to travel over 100 kilometers. And for a ward councillor who is given such a ward, you can imagine the resources he gets, the one with whose ward, the areas are not scattered. They get same allowances. That becomes unfair to also to manage the ward. And the politics of it that we're concerned about is the people that suffer because they can't get the services that they were getting from those municipalities that were serving. At some point, we'll raise it as you did next week on Friday with Limpopo. There were those municipalities, because I want to know what is the case here in this municipality, where in the former municipal centers were service centers. Now with the amalgamation, those offices get closed. They are no longer service points. So I want them to also get assurance from the province. Have they done the post-merger stakeholder engagement to hear what are the feelings of the people, or also to assess the level of services? Those are the issues that I would like them to be responded. I'm not taking over from you, Chairperson. You're still chairing. You'll direct, because I don't want a situation where I get interrupted. Then the meeting will stop. I'm handing back over to you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mutambi. Can we then hand over to West Rand to respond, and also followed by Kokta?
And De Kock.
Yes, and De Kock, thank you. Colleagues from West Rand?
Chairperson, I think that Randwest City has the problem with their mic, so I don't know if they've resolved that problem yet.
Yes, the person that was presenting from Rand West, the mic was audible. Yeah, I'm not too sure whether, in terms of responding to question, it will be someone else other than the presenter. Can you get an indication from Rand West?
Okay, sorry, I'm not from Rand West, but I am from Kokta. So
from Gauteng, GP.
Yes. So I'll try to respond to the questions, but I'll also ask my colleagues. I see that MM would like to say something. His hand is up. Should I allow him to speak before I continue?
You will guide us in terms of who will be responding to questions. So you will dictate who will follow after you've responded. So I'm giving you the liberty to guide us in terms of the responses.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. So I'll respond to some of the questions, but I would like to ask my colleague Anthony Munsami to respond on the issues of HR matters and the vacancy rates within the municipalities across the board, across Gauteng. Just in terms of the cost of the merger, and I think that Dr. Naidu will also add to that, it's very difficult to say what an estimated value is of a merger, because that question is like the length of a piece of string. It really depends on the type of municipalities that you're merging. And my only suggestion is that given our experience both in the city of Tshwane as well as the Randwest City local municipality, is that even before you commence on a merger, you need to do some sort of due diligence. And that due diligence should really look at the assets and liabilities within the municipality, the existing municipalities before the amalgamation. A case in point with the city of Tshwane is that while Kunguni was rather successful, even before the merger, it also had a serious level of challenges, and a lot of that was not known at the time of the merger, and it only emerged after the two municipalities had amalgamated. It included, ratepayers association withholding money from that municipality. It included labor court matters, which also influenced the finances of the municipality. So just looking at the assets and liabilities of a municipality before you get into a merger. Certainly the formula for the division of revenue for this type of amalgamation needs to be looked at once again, because certainly the 17 million provided by National Treasury was not enough, not for the two rather ailing municipalities before the merger, and certainly not after the merger. Was the 17 million enough? And I think that Gauteng recognized that soon after the amalgamation. In terms of the starting point, when I say in July 2011, that's when we first started making representations to the Municipal Demarcation Board. And after the Demarcation Board received all the representations and then also did its internal assessment, it then made a decision in December 2013 around the Randwest City merger. So that process then resulted in the announcement. And yes, of course, we knew that the municipalities were not in the best of financial health at that point in time as a province, as well as looking at the population and their ability to pay their bills to the municipalities. Those were indicators that the municipality was not in a good financial state. Then when we went into the 154 process, which is to support the municipality as provinces should, we only went into that process in November 2017. That was a year after the 2016, almost a year after the 2016 local government elections. And that was specifically to deal with some of the outstanding merger issues, as well as the financial position that the municipality was in at that point in time. I'm going to hand over to Anthony to assist me with the vacancy rates across the municipality, as well as to address some of the organizational issues. And then I would imagine that the municipal manager would also like to add his voice on the cost of a merger. He is very vocal around that. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson and members. I think in terms of the vacancy rate, there were two positions that we took. One was that we had driven the filling of posts at senior management level, and that we did very successfully in Randwest. However, on positions lower than senior managers, there were certain problems during the amalgamation processes. There were placement issues. There were staff that still sat in the pool in the placement strategy that wasn't properly implemented and fully implemented. So there was a moratorium on filling posts for two reasons. One was finalizing the whole placement strategy, and the other was in terms of the affordability. So I'll just leave it there in short, and I'm sure the municipal manager will expand on the placement matters. Thanks.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Themba Goba, the municipal manager at Randwest. Two key issues that I want to talk about. One relates to issues related to governance. The whole process did not address issues related to governance effectively. Quite a number of few issues remain outstanding as part of the transformation from bringing from the two defunct municipalities into one municipality. That would include issues that already have been raised by Anthony. Issues related to the structure, issues related to job description, job evaluation, ultimately placement of employees. And once those things are not done, you cannot place employees. And in fact, One of the unions even took the municipality to the bargaining council, insisting that we need to follow the process to the latter before it could be done. But what is key is the whole financial aspect of the whole measure. One relates to issue of salary equalization when the two municipalities where employees were getting different salaries in similar grades. It has to be that province indeed allocated an amount of 21 million to assist the municipality. But the bad part of it is that it was a once-off, which means that the municipality salary bill increased, and the municipality had to bear the cost alone going forward, which has got an effect on service delivery, but also on the finances of the municipality going forward. Nothing was done to assist the municipality in that regard, in spite of the fact that the matter is as a result of the measure. The second aspect of it, which remains a problem, that was not also, I think, need to be flagged. It's in relation to the creditors or the debts that the newly formed municipality inherited from the defunct municipalities, because they remained in the case of Western area and Randfontein. One of the advisors that was given to us by National Treasury to assist us financially, he used to say that our measure is a measure of two debt bodies, with the hope that when they get together, they will be live. Because both municipalities that came together had financial crisis, and bringing them together, it worsened the situation instead of addressing the situation. The other aspect that also, I think it's one issue that was raised thoroughly by Decoctor. It's the issue in relation to when these measures are done, other than the political aspect of it, the due diligence is not done to ensure that both governance-wise and financially, municipalities would be able to be sustainable. Because it is assumed that immediately once, in many instances, once the municipalities have been established after the election, there is this assumption that now there's a new municipality and the municipality would then begin to run on its own. There's no after measure support becomes limited, and sometimes there is a feeling that you are left on your own to see to it to the end. There's no nurturing that is happening to assist the municipality, maybe for a period of 3 to 5 years, to ensure that those municipalities are sustainable. That is not coming forth to the fullest. And like we are saying, all of them, they suffer two things. There remains with governance issues that remain fully unaddressed. Also the financial aspect of it, because they suffer. I think we have heard all what was said in Northwest, and we all know that the format for Kwe municipality was financially viable before it merged with the other municipality, and ultimately when it merged, it collapsed. The support that municipalities are getting after the merger is the one that is not assisting, and part of it is the financial aspect of it. Other than the money that is released for pre-merger issues that are happening prior to the merger, after the merger, municipalities are not getting sufficient financial support to sustain themselves, and they are left on their own. Hence, in the main, even the little bit of the finances that they had, it is reduced. In our situation, we even inherited a dispute between the mines and the municipality with the issue of the evaluation and the money that is supposed to be paid by the mine, which is a problem that existed since 2014 and is still existing now. We estimate that to date the municipality is owing the municipality not less than 700 million.
Or the mine?
Yes.
You said the municipalities own the municipality. That's what you said.
The mines are owing the municipality not less than 700 million, is estimated for the last 7 years. And the dispute is ongoing, even though currently there is progress. But if you look at the finances of the municipality and look at the money that is supposedly owed by the municipality, you will realize that the municipality would be a little bit better off if that money was paid. But besides that, the dispute, the municipality is not getting sufficient support from national structures. We have tried to engage the Department of Mineral Affairs to come on board to assist. We have engaged the COPTA nationally, wrote letters to assist. It's a sort of a David and Goliath battle. When we are on our own, the municipality, the mines can have a luxury to drag this dispute in the next coming 10 years, even beyond this, because for them, it's saving on the side of the municipality. It's the municipality that is suffering financially. It is service delivery that's supposed to be delivered by municipality that is suffering financially. Those are some of the challenges that the whole measures has brought to the municipality. Thank you, Chair.
Before you go through, you Honorable Hadebe, because that's the issue. Our question is around the issue, the nature of the dispute, that then it said there's a dispute in terms of your report with regard to the mining, and then how does it link with the amalgamation? So you are trying to tell us to say, before the merger, they were owning the previous entity large amount of money. Then they take advantage of the amalgamation, and then they are trying to run away from that responsibility. It's what we are hearing to say. You are saying that, eh?
Correctly, Chair. The dispute was with the defunct Western area since 2014, and it's still persisting. And in order for them to not to pay what is due to the municipality, amongst other things, which I think they even raised it with COPTA, they are even disposing some of the properties to ensure that by the time we reach the end of the process, some of the properties that were part of the initial evaluation are no longer in their books, and therefore they cannot pay for that, because in terms of the dispute, they are supposed to pay the municipality retrospectively from when the dispute started, and they are currently trying to ensure that when the time comes, there's little that they have to pay for compared to what they were supposed to be paying for.
I'm trying to avoid the dialogue, but also trying to understand this. Are you a water service authority?
Pardon?
Are you a water service authority?
Yeah, a water service authority. But in terms of the arrangement of the country, mines in South Africa are supplied directly by rainwater.
But there are services that you can cut from them to force them to pay. Am I right? What services are you providing to the municipalities, to the mines?
Both electricity and water, they get them directly from the SEIU.
So is
there
electricity
directly from
what you are dealing
it's
with?
Only the rates and tax. It's only the rates and taxes that they are paying to the municipality, and we have got no any other authority over them to enforce.
I see. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Okay, thank you, MM. You've said a mouthful. Can we hear Salga before Dikok? How has Salga been intervening to assist? Because you've been seated with this problem, and these are your member municipalities. Salga sits even in the NCOP. They are permanent delegates there. What has Salga done to make sure that these municipalities that has been, the way the MM puts it, it's heartbreaking. You are left on your own. We'll see. But this was a decision that was not that was imposed to these municipalities from national. Is Tatemuraka gone?
It appears as if they are struggling with the connection, Chair, or he's gone.
He's here, William Murak.
And
William
Chair,
Murak.
no, Chair, he's not gone. He's still on the platform.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking him, Salga, before I hand over to Dikok. You need to say something. Is he sleeping? Or those are the colleagues who leave their gadgets on and go and do something.
Yeah, they probably connected and then they're preoccupied with other things.
I will raise it with the leadership, with the bosses. Can we get
even the time of the hour?
Yeah. Can we get Dr. Naidu's responses?
Thank you, Chair.
You have heard what they've said, what the province has said, our concerns do. But these are the problems that you created because this decision was taken by yourselves to amalgamate. The demarcation board didn't just wake up and say we are merging this municipality. It was your decision as a department. Tell us.
Okay, so Chair, let me make 4 points. The first is that I think we need to understand the genesis of the matter that we're discussing here. And I've indicated on previous occasions that it was informed at the time by the Back to Basics program that government had adopted. And as part of that program, COCTA had requested provinces, all provinces, to identify municipalities in their areas of jurisdiction that needed, consideration to be amalgamated or their boundaries redetermined, and to make those submissions to COCTA. So 8 of the 9 provinces submitted requests, 1 did not. But of the 34 requests, Chairperson and honorable members, that were received, which were submitted to the demarcation board, the demarcation board had only processed 13. So 34 received, 21 rejected, and 13 processed. So secondly, if we look at the Northwest, for example, so today we're discussing just the amalgamation of Ventersdorp and Clockwer local municipalities forming together to become JB Marks. But actually, in 2014, 2015, in the submission that came from the province, it was actually 4 requests that the province had made. So the first one that the province had made was that Kagisano, Molapo, and Naledi be amalgamated. The board looked at it, and the board said no. Actually, the application from the province, or the request from the province in respect of Ventersdorp and Clockwer, also indicated that parts of Matlosana should also be included in that merger. So the board looked at that and they excluded the Matlosana portion and then just went with the Ventersdorp and Clockwer. The third request that was made by Northwest was that you disestablish Ratlo and you amalgamate it with Mahikeng and Tswaing. And the fourth request that the province made was that Ketleng and Rustenburg be amalgamated, which was later on withdrawn by the MEC. In the second last one that I mentioned, which was Ratlo, Mahikeng, and Tswaing, the board said no to that. So Chair, it would appear that, and you're right, Honorable Chairperson, when the request was made from COCTA to the board, the common underpinning request in all of those requests was that the board would need to, when they consider these requests, to look at optimizing the financial viability of those municipalities. Okay, so that formed the bedrock of the request that COCTA had made. But when you look at the alignment of that request and in terms of the Demarcation Act, now Section 25 of the Demarcation Act says that there's certain factors that need to be taken into account, and there's 12 different criteria that are listed there. The one criteria says that you need to look at the financial viability and the administrative capacity. It goes on and says that you need to look at rationalizing the total number of municipalities. And then another factor in that same Section 24 of the Act says that you need to achieve the objectives of effective and sustainable service delivery, financial viability, and macroeconomic stability. Now, I'm citing those provisions, Honorable Chair and members, because by virtue of the fact that the Northwest had made 4 requests, the board had rejected 3, or the board had rejected 2, and the MEC had withdrawn 1, means for me that the board had applied the test in Section 25 of the Act. The one request stood the muster, and they proceeded with that specific amalgamation in the Northwest Province. So the same rationale would apply in respect of the other requests that stood the muster of the provisions in the Act, and those that did not were obviously then rejected. So that's the second point I wanted to make, Chairperson. The third point I want to make is around the financial support. Now, the financial support that was provided was based in the main by proposals that were made by the Financial and Fiscal Commission. And the recommendations that they had made were to a large extent informed by the merger that had taken place in 2011 with Tshwane, Nokeng, Taimane, and other areas in the Metsweding district. And I think, perhaps some of the members may not have been present in the presentation that I had made on day 1, Honorable Chair. And when you look at one of the slides in the presentation that I made, the FFC had gone to the extent of actually itemizing the cost for each and every, and let me underscore this here, each and every transition-related matter. Now, when I say transition-related matter, it could include things such as the rationalization and harmonization of policy regimes, IDPs, and bylaws. And for this, they arrived at a cost of 30 million rand. On the rationalization of tariffs, for example, which was another matter that was itemized, it indicated that it would require an amount of 58 million rand for that specific matter. When it came to the rationalization and harmonization of valuation roles, it indicated that there was an amount of 140 million rand that would be required to deal with that. So the FFC, itemized each and every transition-related matter and also put a figure next to each of those matters. Unfortunately, what had not happened, although they had arrived at a figure of 1 billion rand, we had only received half of that, close to half of it, around 470 million rand, to be dispersed around to each and every one of the municipalities that were being redetermined at that point. So that is the FFC recommendations, and the FFC even went further to say that this funding, and trying to also respond now to Honorable Hadebe, that this was a conditional grant now provided for in the DORA, but it was going to be a once-off. Once-off, but extending over 3 years, as was recommended by the FFC. So the FFC said that you need to be providing resources, financial resources, in the year before the redetermination takes place, for the year of the redetermination, and then funding for a year after the redetermination. So that was the FFC recommendation that was made, and to as far as we could, apply the principles that were there, but unfortunately we did not get the full quantum from the National Treasury. So I was speaking now, Honorable Chairperson and members, about the transition-related costs. Now, there's certain costs that are not transition-related, and it was not provided for in the grant that National Treasury provided. So, for example, and I think in the presentation that I had made on day one, we used Bayes-Naudé as a case study, and we saw that non-transition related could include issues around ESCOM debt, which would have been there anyway had the amalgamation not taken place. So Treasury said that by virtue of the amalgamation taking place, it does not mean that the ESCOM debt should, be done away with. Someone would need to still pay for that. And unfortunately, the new entity becomes the successor-in-law of whatever was there prior to the amalgamation, and therefore the debt still remained. When we look at the Bayes-Naudé again, Honorable Chairperson and members, the other driving cost factor there was the AG fees. Now, the AG fees were going to be there anyway, right? So if the amalgamation had not taken place, the AG fees had to be paid by the municipalities anyway. And we heard in the presentation then that the Eastern Cape Province, in respect of the Bayes-Naudé and other municipalities that come on board to assist with that specific matter. The last point I want to make, Chairperson, is around the equalization of salaries. So in day one as well, we had shown and I don't want to use the word benefits, but when the three municipalities in the Dr. Bayes-Naudé municipality were amalgamated, so we had Ikwezi, Kamdibu, and Bavian's local municipalities coming together, right? And so from that three mergers, we no longer had three municipal managers. The idea was from the three to have gotten the best MM. The rationale was that from the three CFOs from those three municipalities, you would have ended up with the best CFO. The idea was that from the five each senior managers, Section 56 managers in those three municipalities, instead of having the 15, you would have had now 5 senior managers in the new entity. And that was the rationale behind that as well, was that by having that, you were going to be reducing salary costs because you were not going to be having this bloated top structure any longer. But second to that, and I think it came out very clearly in the presentation that was made by Gauteng now. So one of the milestones or the activities that we had in our project plan, Honorable Chair and members, was that because the amalgamated municipality was now going to be a new entity, you were going to be conducting a job evaluation exercise for the entire new entity. So what would that have meant? That would not have meant that the employees from the lower graded municipalities would have automatically started earning the higher salary. What it would have meant was that a job would have been evaluated. And if a person was at a certain salary level, or if the job came out at a certain salary level and the person was earning more than that job, that person would have maintained that salary, but the person that was earning less than what the job evaluation came out to be would have gone to that level, but not necessarily at the upper level that the higher salary was already being paid to an incumbent of the post. So that was what was supposed to happen around job evaluation for the new entity. And we heard now in the presentation from Gauteng that that was stalled. It was subject to labor unrest. And even in Deputy Minister Tao's initial remarks, he also indicated the challenges around the standoff between the local labor forums, etc. So, Honorable Chairperson and members, I wanted to make those 4 points, and hopefully it has assisted to give some kind of clarity around some sticky issues that have been said from time to time again and again on this debate. Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Are there follow-up questions? Are there any? Colleagues?
Chair.
Now,
Chair.
it brings, who else? It's only Honorable Brink.
Hadebe.
Hadebe. Who else? Yeah, today we denied you the opportunity to speak to allow you to chair, né? Okay. Yeah, in that order. Honorable Brink followed by Hadebe. Yes.
Chair, thank you. I take it that Gauteng declines to comment on the situation in Tshwane, or they defer to Dr. Naidu's answer. I'm not sure what the...
They can't decline to do that. There are a sizable number of them here now.
Okay, Chair, then...
Can I get a volunteer to respond on the issues of Tshwane? Because they are still amalgamation related. Those are the issues that are there. Itu, can I throw it to you, my sister? Colleagues from Gauteng? David, we must take this difficult one.
You are correct. DDG Mukate was better positioned to respond.
Yes.
But I think Mr. Bando can still respond to that question of 1 billion that was raised by the former mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good.
DDG Mukate, please. Is it you responding, or somebody was trying to respond? Can you do that amongst the two of you?
Yes, Mr. Bando was attempting, Chair.
Good evening, Honourable Chairperson. And I thought that I had responded to the City of Tshwane matter, and particularly 1 billion rand that is outstanding according to the merger process and the threat of litigation. What I had mentioned, it's very difficult to assess at this point in time whether that 1 billion rand cost of the merger is accurate. As I mentioned, before the merger process even got started, the City of Tshwane and Kungwini had assets and liabilities that were not factored into at that point in time. So it is very difficult. And I mentioned that before a merger process of this nature takes place, and having learned from the City of Tshwane, due diligence needs to occur before the merger takes place, and that should inform the merger process, as well as the cost of that, because it depends on the type of municipalities that you are merging. If you are merging two municipalities that are ailing financially, they may need greater support, depending on what their financial position is at that point in time. when you are merging a much stronger and a weaker municipality, maybe a different formula may be required. So that was my response to that particular question. It may not have been adequate. And I would ask either Mr. Mase, DDG Mase, or Ms. Itumeleng Mokate to add on to that. Thank you.
Okay. The two DDGs have been unpicked. Can I get a volunteer?
Chair is Khululeka Lemase. I think on the issue of Tshwane is been covered. There's really not much I could add from what Sobando has said. Thank you.
Okay. Brink, you still want to continue on the matter?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. I understand that was the answer to Tshwane. I thought that was a sort of a by the way remark, but I do see that in fact, yeah, I mean that's the answer you have. There is this billion rand hole punched into the coffers of Tshwane, and there simply isn't an answer to that. It's one of those things that just wasn't properly foreseen, and I think it stands as a warning. Tshwane has been referred to in previous presentations, but I think Tshwane stands, it's a standing warning against the costs and implications of these mergers, and it should really serve as a way to better interpret the 12 legislative factors that Dr. Naidu referred to in legislation when these things are concerned. It should put, for lack of a better word, at this late hour of the night, some interpretive meat on the bones of those provisions. And then the last comment I want to make, Chairperson, is remember the non sequitur that we referred to, the first non sequitur that we referred to in JB Marks, namely that the assumption of Ventersdorp that, it was never going to be viable, while in fact its viability was affected by its poor governance and other decisions. Instead of just in isolation, its economics or its demographics. I think the same thing we have to be careful for at Rand West. So Western area was not going to be viable. It was never going to be viable, whatever the argument was. And the answer to viability was merger with Randfontein. But now it's going to be a few years, and then the argument's going to be, oh no, but Rand West isn't viable. And there's going to be another argument for merger to solve the initial problem. Instead of us looking at the underlying issues that should have been solved in those two entities, arguably. But indeed, Chair, those are my remarks. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Hadebe?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm covered. Honorable Brink has covered my question.
DM Tau, you want to say something before we call it a day?
No, thank
I
you
need
very
to
much.
also, okay, before that, I wanted to say Mr. Muraka explain his absence. He visited the bathroom the time we're calling him. He didn't abscond, he's still in the meeting. But then we'll hand over to you, DM, to comment on what you have heard. I'm glad you went out of the meeting, still come back. You're still with us, we appreciate this. But I think we need to hear your comment before we call it a night.
Well, thank you very much. I think based on the presentations by the provinces and the municipalities, it is evident that are a lot more complex than at the time that the decisions are made. And I think we should commend the demarcations board for the decision in this round of local government elections to avoid merger of municipalities or addressing any external boundary issues in municipalities, so that it gives us space and time as a country to address ourselves to the issue of how we're going to deal with the matter of external boundaries and the implications thereof. So I think that there's a lot of work ahead of us, but our collective responsibility is to try and make sure that this works, both from the point of view of governance, but also mobilizing other departments such as Treasury and other government departments to ensure that what has already happened in terms of merging municipalities yields better success than we have achieved so far. But it's going to be dependent on all of us putting shoulders behind the wheel. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Deputy Minister for holding on with us up to this wee hour. Also to thank the MEC of Gauteng in Northwest. I knew when Gauteng was presenting, he was still here, though he has left. And then also to thank the DDGs, the team from Gauteng, and also to thank the PTO of Salga in the province of Gauteng, and the MM of the municipality that has been here, and then to thank the management team from Cocta, ESD in particular, and then thank to the support staff from Parliament, including you colleagues. These matters, I should think, Honorable Bringo was saying, these issues as raised, they're gonna assist us when we then do our reports, though you were saying our oversight. And then I was tempted to say, Honorable Bringo, you're saying this December, no holidays, we are going to visit all these amalgamated municipalities, but they later then retracted to say Ventersdorp is not even his own tourist destination this December, and the other city you mentioned. But the point I'm trying to raise here, it's all about us also testing the effectiveness of the policies and the decisions that we make. And then this issue of people not doing the scoping reports prior, scoping assessments of the consequence of the policy. That's why always of the decision that we're making, but we also have to learn about that, because what is key and critical for me, Deputy Minister, from where I'm seated, yes, this has destabilized municipalities in a way, but also is the people that then have to suffer a great deal with this amalgamation. Maybe these are the unintended consequences. I'm so sorry, my apologies. I'm hearing dogs barking outside and I don't know have dogs, but it's another thing. Sorry about that. Then it's the unintended consequences of all this. And then at least it's a matter that we are going to pursue in the next year, so that then maybe when we come back, Dr. Naidu with the team, And then because we are seated, we've got deep-seated problems now as a consequence of this. And then I think it's us, all of us, we are here, we've got the responsibility, as you've heard, the crying, because really it's pressures to all these municipalities we're speaking. And then also maybe we need to bring National Treasury very closer to us, so that they must tell us to say what are the funding arrangements that then can also be looked at, to make sure that you don't treat amalgamated municipality like any other municipality, because definitely their cost, if we're going to finish a term and you've not yet resolved all your labor related matters, I mean the term of council is coming to an end, it means the other council that comes again, instead of them focusing on delivering the services to the people, they will be preoccupied with these labor matters. And then another term will come to an end. So these are the matters that are helping us to identify the shortcomings of the decisions that we make at times, but we'll continue to engage. Let me not waste your time. We will then further engage in the new year. For those of you whom we are not going to see you because this week is the end of the term, we want to wish you well. Then hope you come back next year, so that, and you must take care of yourselves with the surge that's coming of this pandemic, so that we will continue to engage moving forward. I think I want to thank you, colleagues. Thanks the support staff, as I've said. Then let's adjourn this meeting here, and then till we are meeting again tomorrow. Can I plead with you colleagues? There's a report of our, there's a report that has been sent to you as a consequence of our meeting with the department yesterday, considering the annual report, that I'll plead with you to go through, so that tomorrow, as we meet tomorrow in the evening, we must also adopt that report, so that it can be tabled to Parliament as early as Friday morning. So those are the stuff that we need to address tomorrow. So don't forget to attend your plenaries. I think it's starting at 3, not 2 tomorrow. Then post that, then we're gonna reconvene at 7. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Good night, Chair. Bye.
Good night,
Good night,
Chair.
Chair.
Good night, Chair.
Good Chairperson. Good night.
Good night, Chair. Namaphoyisa.
Hey, it's shocking. I don't have dogs, you know. I don't know how they enter. I'm gonna get out. It doesn't matter how late is it. Yo, maybe the neighbors.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Thank
Chair.
you, colleagues. Thanks. Good night.